Hello, everyone. Welcome. Say hello if you can hear me and you're here. I've got YouTube and Facebook going here. I've got Instagram going here. So if you see me looking in multiple places, that is what I'm doing. I already see some amazing questions being submitted. And actually, let me plug in this for my phone. Hopefully that will work. I don't want it for my computer. I want it to be there. Okay. Instagram, can you hear me? I sure hope you can. One of the things I wanted to talk about before I get to some of your questions is a theme that's been coming up a lot. And I really want to stress the importance of preparation. So, there are a lot of caregivers out there who are searching for help, but they are so frustrated because maybe you've tried to hire somebody for help and it didn't work out. And then it can be easy for you to want to give up. And that's really awful. You don't want to ever give up on finding help for your situation or getting outside help for your loved one if that's what you want to do. Because what that means is that everything is going to be relying on you moving forward. That's not a great long term plan because we know that dementia can last years and years and years. So, what can you do instead? I want you to be asking yourself, how can you increase your chance of success and getting more help to your loved one? One of the best ways to do this is to anticipate how do you think your loved one will respond. One of my amazing Dementia Care Club members recently, yesterday, was talking about how she knows she needs more help, but she knows her husband is not going to be open or receptive to that help. And so that's really great to know. Her initial question to me was like, how do I convince my husband to accept help? And I'm thinking, you don't want to try to convince him. He's clearly, you're just telling me he's going to be against it. You don't want to try to convince him. So, one of the things all of you can do if you're trying to get more help for your loved one is to think to yourself, what are all of the obstacles? What are all of the possible objections that this person would have to what you're trying to do? And then, based on those possible obstacles, possible objections, how can you work around it? It might be as simple as calling the person something different, calling them by a different name. In fact, one of my other Dementia Care Club members yesterday inside one of the support groups was telling me that her husband used to be an optometrist. And so we were thinking, okay, be very clear in what you're naming. Like, as an optometrist, he was very used to having office staff and assistants and things like that. Could we call this person coming in an assistant, a staff member? That might make all the difference in getting them to accept the help. You don't need the person with dementia to fully understand and be on board with all of your reasoning. All you need to do is find the reasoning that would make sense to the person with dementia. The other thing I want to say is if you are going to hire an outside help, that's expensive. That can be expensive. And as you know, like I've talked about many times, the person coming in to help, even if they've come from an agency, it doesn't necessarily mean they've had any training in dementia care. And even if they have, maybe they've had amazing training, they have not had specific training to your loved one with dementia. And what's more important is whenever you're giving care to a person with dementia, the focus should always be on the person more than the disease. That's why cookie cutter approaches don't work. So, what can you do to help prepare that outside help? What can you tell them about your loved one that would help them have more success when they come in? It can cost a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of your energy and research trying to find somebody to bring in. When that person finally comes in, let's not let that money go to waste. What can you do to maximize your chance of success? These are questions I want all of you to be thinking. So I'm going to get to some of your specific questions here. I can already see some here on YouTube. And then if you are in the position where you feel like you could use more help, you're thinking of hiring outside help, or you've been trying to give help to your loved one and it's not working, starting in August, I am hosting a special series called Help That Actually Helps. So if you want to learn about where you can find financial help, where to actually look for help, how to set specifics on how to set that caregiver up for help to your person with dementia, or just how to best help yourself help the person with dementia, then I would invite you to join the special series happening in August. I think the first class is August 4th. There's a link you can go to learn more. It's in my description. For those of you here on YouTube, I'll try to post it here in a second. I actually don't have it pulled up, but you can join us in August. You don't have to attend anything live, but it's all about how to actually find, afford, and get the help that actually helps. Okay. I don't want anybody losing hope that you can find some help out there. That's the focus next month. You are more than welcome to join us for that. What I want to do now is get to some of your questions. I'm going to be here for about 10, 15 more minutes. And let's see here. Hi, Sonia. It's good to see you. Okay. So Sonia, it sounds like your mom is becoming more aggressive and you're actually having to use some force to pry her hands loose. Number one, I know you, Sonia, because you're one of my Dementia Care Club members. This sounds like it's quite a change for your mom. I would be really curious, does she have some sort of UTI or infection going on that she's been checked up for? Now, I know you're also concerned about people. You're saying you're actually concerned about being accused of doing something, being accused of hurting her. I'm concerned that someone will believe her accusations. Okay, so your mom is accusing you of hurting her, and she's starting to tell visitors that you're abusive to her. This can happen in dementia. It truly can. And it could be that the person with dementia actually thinks you're trying to hurt them. The person with dementia might think you're actually trying to steal all their money, even though you're actually just trying to give them care. In cases like this, it does no good to spin your wheels and try to think of all of the possibilities and all of the things that could go wrong and all of the possible investigations. It's enough to break you down and get so overwhelmed that you will not do anything. So for you, Sonia, I think you're taking a really great approach, and I would just be documenting everything. This is what happened. She put her arms around me. I had to pry them off. Date and time. Keep that behavior journal going. That is going to work in your favor. Also, Sonia, since I know you're a Dementia Care Club member, submit this in that form, and I will go deep with you in our next live Q&A next week so we can go back and forth about what can actually help. I want to say, let's see. I'm trying to see if I've missed anything else. So Sonia, you know you can reach out to me anytime. You're on my VIP list. I'm concerned. You're trying to find immediate placements. She has started to physically. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, Sonia, this sounds like such a drastic change. I would be reaching out to her doctors, letting them know about this drastic change. Is there something that they can give? Is there a workup they can do to make sure nothing more is going on? This definitely sounds like a big shift for your mom. Yes. And then so somebody here is trying to help you out. Fishing rod. Hi. You say, can you get liquid meds or safely crush up her meds? Check with the pharmacist and hide her meds in some sweet applesauce without her seeing. This is a possibility. You always want to check with the prescriber or the pharmacist in terms of, can we get this liquid? Can we crush it? What would be the best, like what are the certain foods that I could put this in to make sure the medications would still be effective? Hello, everybody. Hi, Paul. Hi, David. Hi, Catherine. Catherine's asking, how do I get somebody to assisted living that won't go? I was actually just talking about this with a Dementia Care Club member yesterday. She's 80 years old. She's caring for her husband, and she's thinking about she's starting to plan because that's a serious thing. Like she's thinking, what if something happens to me? What would happen to my husband? I have no family around. I have no kids around. What would be done? And she says, I know my husband would be totally against being placed. What can I do? In these situations, and she goes, how do I convince him? Like, you don't want to convince him. You don't want to convince him he's probably not going to go. What can you do to get him to go? And in these cases, I know it can be really difficult and hard, but you might need to think about what is something they would accept. It makes total sense that somebody probably doesn't want to go to assisted living. It makes total sense that somebody probably doesn't want to go into memory care. We have to first drop into a place of compassion, drop into a place of understanding that this is a big transition. If your person with dementia is already resisting it and does not like it, We don't want to get caught up in trying to convince them. Instead, ask yourself, what might they be more receptive to? Could it be, Catherine, that he's receptive to a doctor's appointment, that he's receptive? I was talking to this caregiver, and a lot of these assisted living facilities have a beautiful big dining room when they're serving lunches and dinners. Could you go have a lunch and dinner with him there? And then you eventually leave and he stays. But there's a lots of prep work that happens ahead of time. For instance, talking to the staff members about that plan, having his room set up with personal items that will remind him of his home. If your goal is to get the person with dementia to be totally happy and accepting and agreeable for this, and before you would place them, you might be waiting a long time. So it's a matter of, how do you get them through the door? How do you get them to that place? And then how do you do the very important work, Catherine, of working yourself down from a place of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I feel so bad. I feel so guilty. I should, like, those thoughts are not going to help you. So when it comes to getting somebody to go somewhere, we do all the prep work ahead of time, talking to the staff, setting up the room, familiar items, all of that, and then think, how do you actually get them to go through that door? Let's see. I'm not seeing any questions currently in the Instagram. Okay, well, here's PMV. My mom is driving me crazy, asking me the same question over and over relentlessly for 3 to 4 seconds. This happens a lot in dementia. Why is it driving you crazy? This could literally be like, right now, my air conditioner is going. It could be the sound of the air conditioner. It could literally be in one ear and out the other. If you wanted to take a more advanced, sophisticated approach, PMV, I would be asking yourself, what is the question that she's asking you over and over? How do you address it? So for instance, if she is asking, I don't know what the specific question is. I would be going deeper with you if we were doing like in the Dementia Care Club, so I can get more information. But let's just use the example, since you don't say one here, that she's asking you, what are we going to eat today? What are we going to eat today? What are we going to eat today? Okay, so now you have some good information. She's really curious about what she wants to eat today. How do you get ahead of it? How do you say, when you pass by, say, oh, Mom, I'm cooking an amazing lasagna today. You're going to love it. Or how do you, like, every time you see her, say, well, what's on the menu today? And maybe you have a menu printed right next to her every day. Say, what does it say there? What are we having today? And then she's like, oh, lasagna. And then also be thinking, always be doing the detective work, like I talked to all of my Dementia Care Club members about, what might be the underlying reasoning she is bringing up this question. Is she hungry? Can you be having snacks out and available to her, so that you're saying, you know what, we're having an amazing lasagna today. I'm making the special sauce you taught me. Put some snacks on here, out here for you to have while you wait. I would be asking about, like, there's the cookie cutter approach to dementia care, which that's what most training videos and things are when they're to the masses and to the public, because we're trying to help as many people as possible. But when it comes to a more advanced, personalized approach, we would want to know, what is she asking? How are you currently responding? What time of day is she normally doing it? What could be an underlying reason for it? What would be some approaches we could take to try to see if we could get ahead of the behavior? And those kinds of questions are excellent. All of you should be asking yourself those questions, but then you would need to answer them, and you have the answer to that. Okay, Crystal, I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate your helpful advice and videos. I am a caregiver and can't tell you how much your videos have helped me improve my approach for my clients. Thank you, Crystal. I love that you were here, because you are somebody who's caring for clients, and like, you are a special type of caregiver who actually cares about improving your approach and helping those people. I'm so happy you're here. Sonia, I'm getting the impression that your mom is like really having a big change here. Also, Sonia, I don't know if you can, on Wednesdays, show up to one of the support rooms and share this with the other Careblazers in there and get their input. Yes, Nikita, beautiful. Nikita says, I hired help for 1 hour a day so my parents would accept it as a visitor. And that could totally be it. You can say, this is a visitor, this is a friend. Maybe they'd be more receptive to a cook or a housekeeper. Sean, I'm not sure what your question means, off the road. Hi, Kim, welcome. Thank you, Charlotte, for your kind words. Oh, Brenda, any ideas on how to make the bathroom more inviting? So many ideas. First of all, let's just step back and realize what's inviting to one person might not be inviting to another. What do you think would be inviting to your loved one? What do they gravitate toward? What are their favorite colors? What's the music that they like? So I would be thinking about, if their favorite color was purple, maybe I would be having a purple robe or purple towels around. I would be thinking, what's their favorite songs or type of songs? I would be having that playing. I would make sure, definitely, a lot of times bathrooms can be kind of cold and sterile. What can you do to make it more warm? I'd also don't discount what you can do to make the bathroom more inviting. A lot of times the bathroom is such an anxiety provoking place for the person with dementia, but also for you, the caregiver, because you're already expecting they're not going to want to go in here. They don't like it in here. It's going to be, they're going to be embarrassed. I feel uncomfortable. They are going to pick up on all of that. What can you do to make the bathroom more inviting? Do you have a story prepared of what you want to share with them? Ask them to help you in some way. Give them something to hold. Maybe it's a washcloth, a loofah. Have them doing something for themselves while you're helping them. Maybe you want to tell them a funny joke. Maybe you want to ask them their opinion on something. Sometimes we go into these experiences and they feel so awkward to us that we're awkward and we don't even know what to be saying or doing. So I would be doing that prep ahead of time. What can you do to make the environment more inviting? Most importantly, what can you do to make yourself more inviting? Nikita, you've got like in the YouTube area, everybody read Nikita's comments. You're doing amazing. I love that. Um, Maggie's saying, my husband was recently diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. His neurologist wants to put him on a medication to slow the process down. What's your opinion on that? My opinion is to be talking to the prescriber of that medication. I'm not sure what this means. I'm being overtaken by the queen of isolators. What I could do, you can let me know the specific challenge there. Let's see. I'm going over here, Instagram. Pam, my mom doesn't want to be cleaned up after she goes poo. Can't get her to wash her hands. In these situations, is it possible to get a bidet? You can find some pretty cheap ones on Amazon where it would help clean her automatically. So, like, if she's not letting you clean her, the bidet might be an option. There's so much more to unpack there. Yeah, Julianne, should I be worried about my mom's short-term memory? Is this an early sign of dementia? It could be, but it might also not be. This is where an evaluation is important, and I would start with the PCP. This is important to know. If you don't have a formal diagnosis, and many people don't, and that's okay, but if it's like in the early stages and it's a short-term memory problem, there are so many things, especially in older age, that causes short-term memory that might not even be dementia. It could be a vitamin deficiency. It could be low thyroid. It could be poor sleep. It could be depression. It could be poor hearing. It could be a delirium. It could be a medication side effect. We don't want to jump to dementia. Dementia is considered a diagnosis of exclusion, meaning in order for the dementia diagnosis to be made, every other thing has to be ruled out first. So short-term memory problems, we definitely need an evaluation to go rule that out. Somebody saying, my husband has been getting more sexually forward. Sometimes in dementia, especially when the frontal lobes are impacted, they can become more hypersexual. So what would be some ways that you can appropriately channel his sexual urges? What would be some ways that you can direct that? Because I'm getting the sense you don't want that on you. So, and in some cases, like especially in public, if he is starting to do something, those are cases where it's totally okay to be firm. It's totally okay, like in the public setting, like, we don't do that here. We have to stop. stop right now. Like, I don't usually advocate for that kind of approach, but you can be a stern approach like that. If it's more like in the privacy of your home, and let's say your husband, I'm getting the impression, is like trying to make a sexual advance towards you, and you're not into it, you don't want it. It's kind of the frontal temporal. He's having a lot of frontal lobe like disinhibition, and he's more sexually forward than normal. What would be a reason he might accept? What could you do? Sometimes it could be, I hurt my back. I can't do anything right now. What sort of thing could he accept? And then what could you, here's a big lesson. I want everybody to hear this. Whenever you don't want the person with dementia to do something, what are you going to get them to do instead? We can't just expect to say no to the person with dementia and then expect them to just like find something on their own to occupy their time. A lot of times, if that happens, it could be something they're not safe to do. It could be something that creates a more mess for you. What could you do to get them engaged in something? I'd also be paying attention. Again, I talk about this all the time in my behavior changer program. What are the triggers? When does this happen? Do you notice it when it's close to bedtime, when you're getting changed for the day, when he's in the bathroom? What are all the triggers? Because then you can start to figure out ways to prevent it in those situations. My brother and sister just came to the realization of Alzheimer's and think she needs to be put in a home, probably. Is this necessary or a good idea if she's doing really well? Not everyone with Alzheimer's disease needs to go into a care facility. That's a personal decision. And there's nothing wrong with putting somebody in a care facility. Just know it's your personal decision. And it's a matter of, what can you do? What are you capable of doing? What do you want to do? What are the other factors going on in your life? What are the actual needs of the person with dementia? And here's the deal. So I can see your question here. It's like your brother and your sister and all these family members. People will have all kinds of opinions about you. People will have all kinds of opinions about your caregiving. Your job is not to make all of those opinions agree with you. Your job is not to get everybody to like you. Your job is to do what is best for you and your person with dementia. And I guarantee you 1,000%, there are going to be people who disagree with you. And if you're living your life trying to get everybody to agree with you, your life is going to be pretty miserable, because that is an impossible thing. It's just not going to be. That's why it's so important that you are strong, that you know like, if you're going to place somebody, what is your reason for placing them? Do you like that reason? Remind yourself of that over and over. It doesn't matter if the neighbor, your brother, somebody else does not like that reason, especially if you're the power of attorney and you're the main caregiver. We cannot live our lives. Let me tell you, if I lived my life trying to get everybody's opinion to think something about me, I would never turn on a camera, because there's always going to be people with opinions, and that is okay. Do not let that get you down. You stay focused on what is best for you and what is best for your loved one. A lot of times people start looking at placement when the care needs of the person is starting to be more than that caregiver can provide. That's not a bad thing. That is a human thing. A lot of times in Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, the actual care the person needs is too much for one person. They might need 24/7 care. They might not be able to stand on their own, to walk on their own. You might be raising other kids. You might have your own health issues. There's so many reasons. If we could just drop the judgment of our decisions, caregiving would become so much easier. Did you know that judging yourself harshly and criticizing yourself is totally optional? You don't have to do it. And when you do it, because it's been a habit, you can literally just say, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. You can draw a hard line in the sand and say, I'm not talking bad about myself anymore. I'm not negatively critiquing myself anymore. I'm a human being in a difficult situation. I'm trying to do the best that I can. And that is that. Let me tell you, beating yourself up, constantly second guessing yourself, judging yourself harshly, taking everybody's easy opinion, negative opinion about you to heart, that is not going to help your caregiving situation. It is not going to make caregiving easier. It's not going to help you. You're going to feel awful. It's going to make caregiving hard. This is a skill you will have to practice. This is the skill you will have to constantly tell your brain, nope, we're not doing that. Nope, hard line in the sand. We're not going there. I do that all the time, every single day. You can do it too. My sister wants to introduce a wheelchair when my mom is still walking good. Is this a good idea? No. No. because you want them to use their muscles if they can use their muscles. Talk to the PCP. I would be talking to the primary care doctor about this. And that way you're not the bad person doing this. Say, hey, this is a situation. Is this a good idea or not? PCP might recommend a physical therapy or an occupational therapy eval, which they are going to be the true experts. But if somebody has the ability and the physical ability to do something, let them do it. The minute somebody starts to get into that wheelchair, the minute they start, debilitating muscle weakness, all those things start to happen because now they don't have to use those muscles. How to decide surgery versus hospice when loved one can't participate in a decision or can understand little of risks, pain involved, surgery proposed. Obviously, be talking to the providers and the doctors. One of the things I like to think about is quality of life. What was your loved one's wishes beforehand? What do you think would be most important to your loved one? Like what you knew about them. Did you ever have these discussions? If not, what do you think would have been important for them? And a lot of you might have to weigh quality of life versus quantity of life. So that's going to be a personal decision. And as much as possible, trying to think about what brings your loved one joy? How do they really enjoy doing their days? What are the downsides of this surgery? What does recovery look like? Would they be able to go through that recovery? Thinking about all those factors. And I would bring that up, especially like if you're considering hospice, talk to the hospice consultant, the evaluation, say, here's my concerns. I'm not sure what to do. What do you think? And go through all of that with them because they will be able to help guide you in terms of this is what the surgery involves. This is what the recovery involves. This is what you can expect on your loved one. What is your loved one? Oh, they really like playing the guitar. That's what brings them all their joy. Okay, well, this surgery, it would lead to numbness in the fingers and they might not be able to do that. It would cause them more pain. That would be something you need to consider. Those are the in-depth conversations you can have with your with that provider when you're weighing these decisions. Okay, how does time go by so fast? I wanted to do this for like 15, 20 minutes. I'm already at 30. Okay, so everybody, I'm sending love to you all. If you are somebody who is in the throes of like, how do I get care? How do I, even if you can't afford care and you're not thinking about outside care, how do I maximize the help I am giving to my loved one so that they will receive it, so that they won't actually resist it, so they won't be more upset or frustrated with me when I try to give it? That's a special series I'm hosting in August. You are welcome to join me for that special series. For those of you on Instagram, it's just the link in the bio. It's called Help That Actually Helps. For those of you here on YouTube and Facebook, I'll include it right now in the comments. The one thing I want to share though, for you, Sonia, specifically, you know you have access to so much more. Come next week, submit this in a live Q&A, come to the support groups. I want to dive deeper into this with you. And then there's a link for all of you here. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for sharing. I'm sending love to all of you. I wish I had the chance to answer all of these questions coming through. I can't keep out. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Charlotte, that's also like Brenda saying, what do you mean by isolation? Sometimes when we're so frustrated and we're so overwhelmed, we like, what can I do about like this really big thing? It's like, we need to break down what is the actual problem? What is the actual situation? Then we can help out more. Okay. Sending love to you all. Take care. For those of you who are joining me later today, Thursday, there's a free class on how to successfully respond to difficult dementia behaviors. You can also find that in the link in the bio. I'll try to be back next week. Okay. Bye.